Okay, we're over Skydive Chesapeake. You can see there's the wind line. As I look over the edge here, it's kind of hard to see, so maybe it'll be easier to see if I make a jump. Ready, set, go! See ya! Alright, so there's the runway. A little bit of a turn. And I'm upwind of the target a little bit. So that means I'm going to be landing in the opposite direction. And when I jump here, I find often we're exiting quite a bit further out than this in an 11-mile-an-hour wind. So a mile would be, out by that darker patch there. 2,500. My deployment altitude on this one. On the risers, ready to steer away from traffic. Okay, so to get a sense of where the wind is going, one of the things that works really well is to slow down the canopy and the brakes and look straight forward and observe if you're slipping to one side or the other. And I can see I'm drifting a little bit to my left. I'm going to make a little correction. A little to my left, yep. And so that says that this is a run with loads of ground speed. My glide ratio, if I kind of raise my hand up in front of me, I can see that the point that's not moving is way up here. And if I was to face into the wind, I would see the opposite. So facing into the wind, I'd see that, oh no, I'm actually going to down here, right? So the reduced ground speed reduces the glide ratio. If you're too far upwind, wind going that way, I can always add brakes, and that will extend my glide ratio in a run. And of course, this doesn't work when I'm facing into the wind. Adding brakes would make things far worse. It would make you go straight down, almost. So I'm going to fly a nice clean pattern. I'm at 1.3 and slowly letting off my brakes and flying a pre-base leg, which is not always something you can do. Sometimes there's traffic heading on their downwind leg that you would have to merge with. But it can be done. I like it because if I fly a really boxy pattern, it establishes the correct amount of offset, right? The distance between my final approach and my downwind leg. So at about 600 feet, I'm gonna turn towards my base leg, and you may or may not have to go that deep. It all depends on the glide of your canopy and the wind speed. As I get closer down to 300 feet, I'm going to turn towards final approach, and this should put me in roughly the sight picture I was hoping for, right? So if you're too far away at this point, you can add some rear risers in real life. In the sim, you would add a little bit of brakes so that that target doesn't move up or down. Just make sure you get off those rear risers or brakes by 100 feet. So that you don't surge before your flare. Here we go. Woohoo! All right, let's do another one with a different wind line. Okay, ready, set, go. Ha-ha! That's fun. All right, so on this jump, I'm going to land in that direction because I pivoted the wind line in the sim, right? So you can see that arrow there. That's indicating where the wind is coming from. Now, we've messed with this a lot, and we're not sure if we're going to change what that looks like. But right now, this indicates the source of the wind, which means that I'm downwind of the target, so I should probably do a little bit of tracking. Getting a little low, and I'm going to wave off. Look for traffic and pull. Checking altimeter 25 on the rears, ready to steer off traffic line. There we go. Most of the time, if you got traffic right in front of you, you do a right turn to get away from them, right? Brake right, Maverick. However, Sometimes you're merging like this and it wouldn't make sense for both canopies to turn right. So you go with the path of least resistance. What is the shortest distance to your safety? All right, I'm going to turn my canopy into the wind. All right. So my glide ratio is taking me, let's see, about that patch of trees. And I'm going to do a 180 and look at the glide ratio facing this way, which, as you know, is a run, right? I'm going with the wind, and I can see that I'm going further, right? So I'm kind of gliding faster across the ground. My true glide ratio never really changes unless I flare or go to the rear risers or I front riser the canopy. That will change the true glide ratio, the path through the atmosphere. So I'm going to bring myself into a downwind leg here in just a moment. There's my target. I'm at 800 feet now. I'm looking for traffic in case somebody's emerging in from far away. And I'm going to begin a downwind leg. And I'm going to make a nice long base leg. Notice I'm kind of angling it out because I don't want to go over the runway. And at 600 feet, a little below, I'm turning to my base leg. And I'm just going to kind of play with the angles on my base leg. Just a little bit. Again, not wanting to go too far over that runway. And I'm going to drive it down towards that target. I like to front riser. It's kind of how I like to fly my parachute. Everybody's different. I like to pick up speed for the landing. Here we go. Nice. That was lovely. All right, I hope to see you guys on the Wednesday night meetings. We're going to meet up and do jumps all over the world, starting with a jump on a drop zone, and then we'll go do the extreme stuff that you guys love. I'm Brian Germain. Have a wonderful day. So basically, there's a feed. So it tells you all, sort of most recent events. You can communicate directly with me or any of the other folks and ask questions. So just like Facebook. And then down here, the session recordings here, dating back, 3 years, several times a week. And these are all an hour to an hour and a half at least. Most of them are an hour and a half. With the dates on there. And what we're working on now is also adding specifics of what we covered. And then the live events 3 times a week, like I said, and all those, it just got the link in here. Community conversations, improving your landings. These all have different, videos or articles or things like that. Mind game. Lots and lots of virtual reality simulations showing, tweaks to the pattern. Based on winds, different drop zones, things like that, all kinds of good stuff. Ground launching, a bunch of the talking skydives are on here as well. You name it, man. You name it. Even I added a new category this week, the holistically healthy skydiver, talking about nutrition and exercise and, how to feed our brains, all kinds of different things that relate. It relates. Your performance is something that is going to vary based on how you feel. So I feel like approaching skydiving from a holistic perspective is essential. Somebody that has natural ability and understands the situation completely can be held back by their drinking problems. You know what I mean? Or, you know what I mean? Or what there's all these different things that we have to be looking at, if we're all in, I am. You know,
Everything I do is part of my skydiving training.
everything. I think
Um,
you'll love it. I think you'll love
yeah,
it.
no,
You know, and people use it sort of like a podcast or on a road trip or something. You put in your earbuds or put it on the car, system, and just
so-
listen to the conversations. And we get folks that are really new, and we get
Mhm.
folks that are instructors. We got base jumpers, wingsuit people. We got paraglider folks because I like that stuff too. And
Yeah.
we'll talk about whatever the community wants. And believe me,
Yeah.
I don't have all the answers. And that's the good thing about community is that we can find the answers together.
Right. Absolutely.